Hi, thanks for joining us. We are live from Las Vegas at Adobe Summit 2017. I'm Wendy Steinley, Director of Marketing Strategy and Operations for Adobe's digital marketing business, and I'm joined today by Dio Favatas, Managing Director, Digital Marketing at Truth Initiative. And we are in the Summit tank at Adobe talking about experience business and the role of everything that goes into the experience to help drive a brand, right?
Well, digital is everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
Dio, thanks for joining us. How about get started by just telling us a little bit about your organization and what success looks like?
Well, yeah, so Truth Initiative, and more importantly, Truth Campaign, was born out of the Master Settlement Agreement with against Big Tobacco in 48 states, plus the District of Columbia and 5 territories,
Okay.
back in 1998. So in 1999, we were founded. We came forth in an impactful way with Truth Campaign to basically answer a simple question, and I'm going to ask it to you. How awesome would it be if we were in a world where smoking was no longer an epidemic?
It would change outcomes for so many people.
So the thing is that within the youth segment, especially under the age of 20, back when we started in 2000 to 2003, the teen smoking rate was 23% of the population. Can I tell you what that number is today?
Please.
It's just hit a low of 6%, and we're largely to thank for that outcome, because what we really care about doing is making sure that young people from a very early age, prior to their high school years, even their college years, that they understand that smoking doesn't have a role in their lives, and they don't need to be part of the apparatus that gets people hooked on smoking.
Yeah.
And our research has proven that if you can prevent a young person from picking up a cigarette butt, or maybe a cigarillo, or a hookah product, or any addictive nicotine-based combustible before the age of 20, their likelihood of ever becoming a smoker is it's totally minimal. I think it's about less than 10% chance. So
I've got a 16-year-old, and I understand and hear what you're saying, and I can say it's true. I mean, smoking's just not a thing with him and his friends.
And that's a large part. I think it was the big reason that drove me to come to Truth when I had an opportunity to, is because what we're doing is we're out there saving lives. And we've actually been able to measure that, especially through the middle school to high school age demo of pretty much eradicating tobacco. And we've done that in a fairly short period of time. If you think about from when the campaign started to today, you're talking about, in total, 17 years, but really the campaign being in market since about 2004.
Yeah.
Talking about, that's about a decade. And to get to a point where we can almost say that it's eradicated in the under 18 demo is amazing.
Well,
now,
let me just thank you on behalf of all of, America, the world.
No, and I really appreciate that, because, there's more work to do, and we're going to get there, but I envision a world where smoking is no longer an epidemic, period.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how you make that happen through content, through digital strategies. So as a thought leader, how do you develop content that can enhance the brand experience to convey your message?
So everything that we do is it's substantiated in fact. And there are a number of facts related to the byproducts and the byproducts and the chemicals in tobacco, the effects on the system, the human system, also the marketing practices of the tobacco industry. These all have to be substantiated and factual, based off of not only the bylaws that we operate under as an antecedent of the Master Settlement Agreement, but ultimately, what do millennials and centennials care about more? They care about facts.
Right.
They're constantly on search, mobile search, social search. They're looking for information. So when we get a proof point that we can really lean into, we start there. And then through aggressive research and testing, we see what kind of proof points within the fact will actually resonate with an under 24 demo. So what are some things? You said you have a 16-year-old child at home. What are some of the things that you see your 16-year-old doing every day? And the way they consume information, and the way they respond to the stimulus that they see in advertising and other communications. I mean, what's maybe one or two things that you know about them?
Well, he's constantly on that device and constantly needing to respond and be connected. And then, I also...
You see a lot of this syndrome?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of like, hey, it's dinner time, put that thing
Right.
away, right? But also, I don't know to what degree he's influenced by what he's seen. I don't know what's in his brain when he's consuming that stuff. We talk about things, but in real time, I have no idea what that's doing to him.
So ultimately, what our position point is, after the fact has been created, we have to understand our audience, and we go through rigorous testing. We've done advanced segmentation analysis, econometric studies. We have a 10,000 person longitudinal study that we've been tracking over the last 3 years. We ask them questions on a regular basis, as well as a number of other testing methodologies. And the reality is young people don't want to be spoken at. They don't want to be told to do something. They want to understand. They want to be captivated by something that seems obscure to them.
Right.
And they want to go and find more information. Ultimately, young people want to be part of something bigger. And that is our approach with all of our omnichannel strategy as it comes to content and experiences for the end user. These users aren't just on a TV. That's basically how the industry has operated for so long in ad comms. Start with TV first, and then you ladder down. I mean, we're building for formats that are cross spectrum. So I need to know right off the bat that my broadcast spot on linear TV is also going to work in a smart TV in-app format, let's say like a Netflix or a Hulu, but also works on the smartphone, that also works on the iPad or the smart tablet, that also is on your third, fourth, fifth screens, because by and large, when a young person's watching TV, they're sitting there, they're on social media, they're searching stuff. They may also be on a laptop. They're just ever so connected, and their minds are constantly just drawn to all of these secondary, tertiary, quaternary devices. So that's the approach that you lean in with content, but it's also a unique approach for us to lean in from an analytics standpoint so that we optimize the experience for the end user.
Right, and what you're saying really resonates. We just came out of the keynote, Brad Rencher was talking about shifting really from data to context, and they both play a role. Data and context, really instead of perhaps personalization, really it's more about the context. That's the new personalization.
Right, I hear a lot of thought leaders and other industry experts talk about, we've got to be involved in personalization, automation, and those are all things that are kind of tactics. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the most successful organizations that are able to talk to any audience, but let alone this new breed that are by and large they're cord cutters or they're cable nevers, is to speak to them through the lens of data-driven marketing. Because when you have the insights, then you're able to surround the individual with content that's native to them in the applications that they're working on, that they're familiar with, but also exposes them from the first touch point to the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, because most likely they're on 5, 6, 7, 8 devices at a single time.
So to wrap up, what advice would you give to create a content-based experience that can really create the kind of movement like a truth campaign that can change people's lives?
Well, I bring a lot of this back to, what are the forecasts and projections for the future? And you hear a lot of fun buzzwords like AR and VR, and you got to make sure that your content is optimized first in a 10-second format so it works on Snapchat, and then make sure there's a 15-second format for YouTube. These are all tactics, and they're sub-tactics. I think the bigger part is understanding, as I just mentioned to you, young people by and large are on 3 to 5 devices at any given time. So when I go into this and thinking about what is the future for brand marketing, content marketing, and then ultimate end user experiences, understanding the connected device, and then understanding the unified device at the person level. For years we've kind of just done mass comm, and then we try to get more targeted and using certain filters and scores and weights and so on and so forth. But if I know that certain characteristics of a population, they're currently watching something on a TV, but they're also on a smartphone and a tablet, I can actually use a sequential messaging strategy that's talking to them at 3 different touch points with content that actually resonates with them and that doesn't feel like some kind of forced exposure or forced message format.
Yeah, well, it's really inspiring. First of all, thank you for the work that you're doing. And also, it's really exciting to see how you're using data with channels, with human desire and need to really drive the kind of message that I think it's impacting so many people's lives. So Dio, thank you so much for your time and for everything that you're doing, and thanks for being here at Adobe Summit 2017.
Oh, it's been awesome. You know, Adobe's a great partner of ours. We couldn't do a lot of what we do today without them, but without Adobe. But thank you so much for providing me with this opportunity
Our
to
pleasure.
speak to you
Thank you.
today.
Thanks. And thanks for joining us.